The read on all of this right now with Phil Wegman, the Washington Examiner and commentary writer. We've also got Charlie Gasparino with us and Deirdre Bolton. Phil, that was his message. I don't like doing this. I'm doing it. I'm not keen on it. But this is the last time I'm going to do it. What do you think?
Well, I think that the president is a day late and $1.3 trillion short. The fact of the matter is that conservatives are going to cheer the line item veto. They're going to cheer the idea of filibuster reform, but that's empty rhetoric. Yesterday, we had Mick Mulvaney, Mark Short, and Mike Pence promise that this was a done deal, that the president just needed to offer his signature. And then this morning, the president sees something on television that upsets him, and he threatens a shutdown. But what does he get out of it? He doesn't get anything. Frankly, the president looks really weak right now because he's promising that he'll never do this again. But right now, it looks like he just didn't show up. All of Washington knew that this was coming, except for the president.
We don't know. Deirdre Bolton, one of the things that I think when he talks about seeing something on television, I don't think he anticipated the rage he was going to get on the right, especially from Freedom Caucus and other members who said, well, Republicans have dropped their resolve on spending, as if they even hinted of that. And that caught him off guard. He was well aware of it, but he didn't know the degree of that rage. And this was his way of saying, look, I share your angst, but I also feel that if this is the only way the military can get that spending that I think is necessary, the down payment on a wall that I think is necessary, I'll do it.
I think we've seen the pattern. There's one pattern, at least, that I've seen with President Trump, and that has been that he has seemed to really want to keep his election promises, right? And this has been one of them, taking care of the military, taking care of military families. But, Neil, to your point, I mean, the Republican Party is extremely fractured. There are a lot of people. I mean, we had the national debt cross a huge milestone last week, right? So there were a lot of people even yelling then, like, we should not be spending one more nickel than we need to in discretionary spending. Here we're spending quite a lot, $1.3 trillion. It's all going to military. I think this is about him keeping a campaign promise, which is we're going to support the military.
And then this justifies that. We keep showing you this large pile of paper that's 2,200 plus pages. That's how much this spending bill is. Now, the truth is we've actually looked at it, and it repeatedly says, well, work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. It's actually from The Shining, but yeah, it's not. A lot of legalese in there. But, Gasparino, I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, well, I know the conundrum the president's in, but nevertheless, to both of these prior speakers' point, the debt keeps going up, 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 up.
Yeah, every Republican president, we should point out, supports the military and more than, you know, and even the Democrats will say they support the military too. But military spending is a fait accompli with Republican presidents generally. So he's not doing anything so spectacular there. The wall is different, but, you know, again, a lot of people think.
But he went back and forth on this. Yeah. What did you make of that?
Well, I tell you, to me, it seemed like he's not ready for prime time on this. I mean, this is like you either cut these deals before all this, or you don't do it out in public. It looks
That's
like
just it.
On top of the bizarre trade stuff that he's doing, this does not lend credence.
These kind of things are a no-win situation. And, Phil, I mean, you touched on it. The Dow's up over 100 points now. Largely, I think I would, and I don't want to jump the gun on this, Phil, but on relief, I guess, that we're not going to have a shutdown, even though those tend to be short-lived type of reactions. But what do you make of what the market's saying on what the president's saying?
Well, the market is reacting very quickly because government shutdowns are not good for business. But a second ago, we were talking about campaign promises, and I'm a young guy, but I'm not young enough not to remember that for the last decade, Republicans promised that they were going to do two things: repeal Obamacare and reduce spending. Yep. And this president, he has to know that the way things get done in Washington is when it comes to these massive spending packages. His staff certainly knows that. And with this one, I feel like he was playing a game of chicken, but he didn't know it, and he comes up on the losing side. And yes, there's more funding for the military, but Republicans and Democrats generally agree on that.
I think he is weighed. I think he's shrewd politically to weigh the political risk and say, in the scheme of things, Americans are almost numb to these issues of the debt. I think they're important for your generation, very important. I mean, I'll get my Social Security, you won't get yours, so I'm fine with that. But I will say, though, just kidding there, that he has weighed the pros and cons and come out in favor of, I'll sign this, I don't like it, but better to have an open and running government than to get caught in a debate over this issue that Americans, by and large, don't seem to fret much about. What do
yes,
you say?
but so this is the president, and he signed up for this job. He knew that this deadline was coming, and he is very upset about the fact that he didn't get a lot of his priorities. And absolutely, he should be frustrated. But he should have come out 2 weeks ago and gone to Congress and said, "Hey, you're a co-equal branch, so am I. It's time to negotiate because I'm the guy who makes deals."
Okay, guys, I want to thank you.